What if I told you that Germany's most controversial seaside resort is hiding secrets that could rewrite history? What if those secrets are literally buried beneath 3 miles of concrete, and someone is working very hard to keep them hidden? Today we're traveling to the German island of Rügen on the Baltic Sea, where we'll uncover the disturbing truth about Pora, Hitler's unfinished beach resort that has become the center of one of the most unsettling cover-ups in modern Germany. This isn't just another abandoned building. This is a monument to Nazi ambition that stretches nearly 3 miles along pristine coastline. Built in the 1930s as part of Hitler's Kraft durch Freude, or Strength Through Joy program, Pora was designed to house 20,000 vacationers at once. But this wasn't about relaxation. This was about indoctrination on an industrial scale. But here's where our story takes a dark turn. Recent discoveries beneath this massive structure have historians panicking, government officials scrambling, and developers desperately trying to rebrand the site as a luxury wellness retreat. The question is, what are they really trying to hide? Nobody expected a Nazi megastructure to become prime beachfront real estate, but that's exactly what happened. For decades after World War II, Pora sat empty, a concrete ghost stretching along the Baltic coast. The Soviets used it as a military base, then East Germany did the same. When the Berlin Wall fell in 1989, Pora fell silent. Then, in the 2010s, real estate developers saw something else entirely, a massive blank canvas on untouched beachfront property. For a fraction of the cost of coastal real estate elsewhere, they could carve out a resort unlike anywhere else in Europe. Some marketing materials even called it Germany's answer to Miami Beach. The backlash was immediate and fierce. Protests erupted across Germany. People asked the obvious question, can you really turn a Nazi relic into a vacation destination? What seemed like a simple real estate project quickly became a moral minefield. But the most shocking part? Pora was never even finished. The original Nazi plans included theaters, restaurants, swimming pools, and even a massive dock for cruise ships. None of that was completed before the war broke out. So what we see today is essentially Hitler's unfinished dream, a concrete skeleton of fascist ambition. And that's where things get disturbing. Because while tourists now sip cocktails on balconies that once faced daily Nazi inspections, construction crews have been making discoveries underground. Discoveries that have authorities rushing to seal off entire sections of the building.
It started with what should have been routine maintenance in Block 5. A construction crew was clearing out moldy corridors and rusted fixtures when they stumbled upon something that wasn't supposed to be there. A sealed room hidden behind welded steel plating and covered with decades of debris. When they finally cut through the metal, what they found sent shockwaves through the entire development team. The room was filled with wooden crates marked KDF, the original Nazi organization behind Pora. But these weren't empty containers or archive memorabilia. Inside were Nazi uniforms in near pristine condition, untouched documents, propaganda banners still rolled up perfectly, and, most disturbing of all, a reel of never-before-seen propaganda footage. The footage wasn't labeled, but it showed something no historian had ever documented. Staged sequences of fake resort life at Pora. Actors portraying happy families, children playing, smiling vacationers, all filmed to sell a utopian vision of Nazi leisure to the German public. But here's the chilling part. The footage was so sophisticated that experts compared it to the work of Leni Riefenstahl, Hitler's famous propaganda filmmaker. Except Riefenstahl wasn't credited, and no known filmmaker had any connection to this reel. When word of the discovery leaked to the press, authorities moved fast. Block 5 was immediately sealed off. The construction crew who found the room were legally barred from speaking publicly. One worker even quit his job and refused all interview requests. The question is, why such extreme secrecy over some old Nazi artifacts? Because according to a whistleblower connected to the development company, the propaganda footage wasn't the only thing they discovered. They also found detailed architectural plans, original blueprints from 1938, showing something that's not on any public record: an entire sublevel beneath Prora that no one has ever been allowed to explore. The first person to go public about these discoveries wasn't a journalist or government official. It was Dr. Marcus Fehling, a respected historian from Hamburg who had spent over 20 years studying Nazi architecture. Fehling claimed he had seen copies of the leaked blueprints before authorities locked down Block 5. According to him, these weren't just renovation plans. They were original Nazi engineering documents, with signatures from architects known to have worked on other Nazi megaprojects.
Fehling tried to publish his research. No major academic journal would touch it. No newspaper would run the story. Then, just weeks after he presented his findings at a private symposium in Dresden, something strange happened. Dr. Marcus Fehling vanished. His office was cleared out overnight. His university email was shut down. His phone was disconnected. When reporters tried to contact his family, they refused to comment. The official explanation? Burnout and sabbatical. But colleagues who knew Fehling personally said he would never abandon his research, especially not when he was so close to a major historical discovery. And the strange discoveries haven't stopped. Anonymous sources have leaked aerial scans of Prora showing unexplained anomalies in the terrain around multiple blocks, small depressions in the landscape that are too symmetrical to be natural, suggesting buried entry points to underground facilities. Construction workers have also reported bizarre incidents, tools going missing from sealed rooms, then reappearing days later in different arrangements, security badges being mysteriously denied access to work zones, and most unsettling of all, some contractors claim to hear low-frequency vibrations coming from beneath the building's foundation. Deep inside Block 3, beneath what's now being marketed as luxury loft apartments, there's a corridor that construction workers have come to call the Ghost Hall. It's not on any official building plans, and you won't find it on any renovation blueprints. The hall can only be accessed through a service shaft hidden behind an old utility panel. It's always cold, perpetually damp, and lined with reinforced concrete walls. There's no electrical wiring, no ventilation, no plumbing. Just smooth walls and an unsettling silence that seems to absorb sound. But the most disturbing part of this story involves a woman named Anuka Voss. In a little-watched YouTube interview from 2019, she made a claim that sent chills through anyone who heard it. Voss claimed she was born in Prora in 1974, when the building was being used as an East German military base, but not in the regular barracks above ground. According to her, she was born in a secret medical facility in the sublevels, where the communist regime was conducting psychological experiments on children. She described a hidden birth unit where 14 children were born as part of a classified military project. These babies were isolated from other personnel, monitored 24 hours a day, and never allowed to see daylight. The experiments allegedly tested memory formation, language learning, and psychological endurance in controlled isolation. Her story was widely dismissed as fantasy, until researchers discovered something chilling in declassified East German military records. A brief entry from 1974 labeled Civilian Medical Operations, Confidential Site 31B. No other details were provided, but Prora's military designation in communist records was Zone 31. In 2021, an urban explorer, inspired by Voss's claims, managed to sneak into Block 3 and find the Ghost Hall. He filmed what he saw, an underground corridor lined with decaying doors, one still marked with a faded red cross. The video went viral before mysteriously disappearing from the internet. The explorer posted one final message on Reddit. "There are more doors behind that one. They weren't locked, but I was too scared to open them." He never posted again. And today, the Ghost Hall has been permanently sealed with steel plating for what developers call safety reasons. In late 2022, the Prora Development Board announced their master plan, the Baltic Serenity Wellness Complex, a luxury wellness retreat built inside a structure originally designed to house 20,000 Nazis. The reaction was immediate and explosive.
The backlash didn't just come from historians or human rights groups. Holocaust survivors, former East German military personnel, and international educational organizations all raised alarms. Their concern wasn't just about the ethics of the project, it was about what they saw as a systematic erasure of history. When journalists asked to see the historical exhibits that developers promised would preserve Prora's dark past, they found empty rooms with minimal plaques and absolutely no mention of the underground discoveries, the sealed chambers, or the rumors of human experimentation. The promotional materials for the retreat emphasized tranquility, rejuvenation, and healing silence. But critics pointed out the bitter irony. Silence was exactly the problem. The plans included luxury spas, sound therapy rooms, and most disturbing of all, a subterranean meditation space in the lower level of Block 3. When pressed for details, developers refused to confirm whether this meditation space was the same area once known as the Ghost Hall. But an architect involved with the project anonymously leaked floor plans that looked disturbingly similar to the corridor seen in that viral video from 2021. The only difference? The hospital doors had been replaced with wellness pods and sauna chambers. Just months before the Baltic Serenity Wellness Complex was scheduled to open in late 2025, everything came to a screeching halt. Construction sites went silent overnight, equipment was removed, workers were told to stand down indefinitely. The official reason given to the press was a routine zoning review, but internal sources told a very different story. During foundation work on Block 4, construction crews had accidentally breached a previously unknown wall. Behind that wall was a steel-framed tunnel leading to a facility that had been completely hidden from public knowledge. According to a whistleblower who contacted journalists under strict security protocols, the tunnel contained preserved machinery, military records written in obsolete scripts, and equipment labeled Stufa Dre, isolation phase, level 3, isolation phase. But here's the most disturbing part. The corridor looked maintained. No mold, no decay, no signs of age. It was as if someone had been keeping it operational for decades. Within hours of the discovery, an emergency shutdown was issued. 2 workers were immediately escorted off the site and haven't been seen since. Their names no longer appear in official employment records. Heavy concrete was poured over the breach point, permanently sealing access. The whistleblower who leaked this information posted a series of encrypted audio messages before going silent. In his final communication, he claimed to have photographs of the underground facility and promised to release them when the time was right. He hasn't been heard from since. Today, Prora stands as more than just a historical curiosity or a real estate controversy. It's become a symbol of how easily inconvenient truths can be buried, sometimes literally. Construction remains suspended. No explanation has been given to investors or to the dozens of people who pre-purchased apartments in the complex. The German government continues to refuse comment on the underground discoveries. So what's really beneath Prora? Are we looking at forgotten Nazi facilities that were never documented? Cold War experiments that continued long after the war ended? Or something even more disturbing that connects both eras of German authoritarianism? The 3-mile concrete giant still looms over the Baltic coast, unfinished and unexplained. But the real question isn't about what was built above ground. It's about what's been deliberately kept hidden underneath. As luxury developers continue trying to transform this monument to fascism into a vacation destination, one thing becomes clear. Some histories refuse to stay buried. And perhaps that's exactly as it should be. What do you think? Could you ever vacation in a place with such a dark and mysterious past? Or do some locations carry too much historical weight to ever truly become spaces of leisure? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into history's most unsettling mysteries.